We're hearing today US election officials have said this year's White House vote was the most secure in American history, rejecting Trump's claims of fraud. Do you think this information will influence the president to concede at all?
There's no indication that President Trump is interested in conceding right now. The reports from the New York Times indicate that the president has accepted privately that he has lost this election, but is keeping up the appearances of maintaining allegations of fraud, which I might add there is absolutely no evidence of to date. The secretaries of state who manage elections in the U.S. states, most of whom have come forward and said that there's been no evidence of this thus far. But reports indicate that President Trump is potentially using these allegations of fraud to sort of whip up fury amongst his supporters, to potentially lay the groundwork for a run in 2024, or perhaps to launch a new media outlet to counter the likes of Fox News and OANN.
And how is the latest vote counting? Biden, I believe, is extending the lead over Trump with a win in Arizona.
That's correct, and that really at this point only leaves Georgia left to count. And if President-elect Biden does end up winning Georgia, as it looks like he will, that'll put him over 300 electoral votes, which by the standards of U.S. elections isn't necessarily a landslide, but it's definitely a capital W win.
And how is the transition period going, and what do you expect, Elliot, to play out between now and the inauguration day, which is 68 days' time?
Simply put, it's bad. It's not going well. The transfer of power isn't just sort of a moment of feel-good statements about democracy. It has very pragmatic consequences. When the General Services Administration, which is sort of the bureaucratic arm tasked with, among other things, declaring a winner in the presidential election, once they do that, it releases any number of funds and other privileges to the president-elect and their team. This includes access to national security briefings, as your report mentioned. This is funds to help make hires, to purchase office space for the transition. And in the midst of a global pandemic, there couldn't be a worse possible time to impede that transfer of power.
Biden has phoned many foreign leaders, most recently, as you've just heard on the CNN report there, with China. How did that go? And are we yet to hear anything from Russian leader Vladimir Putin?
No, the president-elect has not heard from Vladimir Putin or any Russian officials to date. This, of course, is notable after President Trump had been under investigation for his ties to Russia and Russian intelligence in the 2016 election. But at this point, really puts Russia as the sort of odd man out. Countries ranging from, of course, Australia to even ones hostile to the U.S., like Turkey, have telephoned President-elect Biden offering their congratulations. So at this point, really, you're looking at the entire global community, save for Russia, more or less, that is acknowledging President-elect Biden as the president-elect. The number of people and countries in President Trump's corner is really dwindling by the hour.
Moving forward, Elliot, what can the world expect with a Democratic Party?
Well, right now, what President-elect Biden may well be limited to are so-called executive actions, that is, legal actions that he can take with president without the consent of Congress. Right now, there are two runoff elections that are underway in Georgia. The winner of those will determine who controls the U.S. Senate. If the Democrats can't regain control of the Senate, it means that President-elect Biden will be seriously hamstrung in what he can do, but he can do quite a bit. For example, overturning President Trump's Muslim ban, rescinding some of his other harsher immigration policies. He can also take certain dramatic steps when it comes to student loans here in the States. But that said, what his administration will look like very much depends on what will happen in Georgia.
And talking about the coronavirus cases, we've heard recently that California has hit the 1 million mark. What is the latest? Because a lot of places are certainly surging with these cases, and the race, of course, is on for a vaccine. We've got one here that's looking quite good in Queensland, and one with Pfizer. How is it all going there?
Well, the development of the vaccine is certainly good news, but that's really just about it when it comes to good news here in the States. Watching your report earlier on the diminishing number of cases in Victoria, it sort of gives me a bit of pang of sadness. Just yesterday here in the States, there were 160,000 new cases. Just over a week ago, there were 100,000 new cases a day. So the fact is that cases are rising pretty exponentially here in the States. And this, of course, is very much tied to the fact that the current president, President Trump, is taking almost no initiative when it comes to his duties as leader of the government. Right now, he is only really focused on trying to overturn the results of the election, which means that the government is not really bringing to bear as much as it can on this pandemic.
Elliot Nelson, thank you very much for your time and expertise and joining us today on Weekend Edition. Certainly it has been a big week, and between now and Inauguration Day, certainly plenty to discuss and also moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.